Okay, this presentation is about drug abuse, and my name's Jillian McAlexander, and I had help from Ryan Nelson to get this presentation together for you. And we're excited to teach you a little bit and hopefully provide you some tools that you can use in the future. When we talk about drug abuse, most oftentimes we start to think about illicit drugs, but when you're underage, alcohol and tobacco are still illegal. Um, and they're still dangerous. Just because they're illegal, even for adults, doesn't mean that they don't have consequences. Alcohol can cause poor judgment, which can range from things like doing stupid things with your friends, that are harmless, silly pranks. But it can be as serious as getting behind the wheel when you've had alcohol in your system and getting into a car accident. It can cause you to have poor judgment, to engage in risky behavior like different sexual activities that you maybe wouldn't normally do, or maybe you would, but you don't remember them. People who are under the influence of alcohol can't give consent the way that they should. So that poor judgment is a very crucial factor to alcohol. Alcohol is addictive. Alcohol withdrawals are very serious. Alcohol withdrawals are a medical emergency. It's not anything to be messed with. So it can be addictive. It can be a mechanism that people use to kind of cope with things. So starting that now when you're young is definitely not a good idea. Finding ways to cope with your stressors in your life is beneficial to you. It's beneficial to you now, and it will serve you your whole life long. Alcohol has lasting health effects. It can cause liver cirrhosis and disease and cancers. And it can cause them when you're young, when you're in your 40s and 50s. And they can be really scary and really hard to handle. And once your liver has become sclerotic, there's really not much going back for that. So alcohol is something that should be respected and used when you're older and when you're old enough. And I'm not saying, I know that I sound really lame telling you that, but I promise you, when you are old enough and you can respectfully use alcohol at a safe level, then you can appreciate it. Tobacco, we know, causes cancer and is addictive. And, nobody sets out with any of these drugs that we're going to talk about today. Nobody sets out to be addicted. Most people start using whatever it is that they start using, whether it's alcohol, tobacco, illicit drugs, pills, whatever. They start using with the intent that I'll do it once. And sometimes they just can't quit. So I'm going to show you this next picture. It's a little bit alarming, but I think it's important that you see that all the things that we're telling you are bad. We're not just coming up with random reasons that they're bad. This woman helped with the Tips for Smokers campaign for the Centers for Disease Control. She is 55 years old. She got oral cancer, and as you can see there, she's missing that whole left side of her face. She got oral cancer at age, I believe, 43. So she's been living like this for 10 years, and she still has half a lifetime to go. Can you imagine that? Next, we're going to talk about illicit drugs. All illicit drugs come with serious health effects. Each one has different health effects, which we're not necessarily going to get into a whole lot here. But illicit drugs can cause problems like heart problems, palpitations. They've been known to send people into deadly heart rhythms, and they can cause lasting heart problems. It's not just a one-time thing just because you're high. It can cause drugs like meth can cause psychosis. It completely and permanently can change the way that your brain is made and the way that your brain functions. And you could need to be hospitalized and institutionalized, and it might not get better. Opiates, drugs like heroin, or some even legal pills that, people get a hold of and use not for their intended purposes, they can cause respiratory depression. So people get high and they pass out, and their friends pass out with them, and they don't wake up because they quit breathing. Drugs cause school problems. You start to, with these drugs, it turns on this pleasure-seeking function in your brain, and your brain can only think about, how do I get that next high? How do I get that next, hit of meth or heroin or whatever it is that you're using? And you start to have problems in school, at home, in your social life. And that's all you can think about. You don't function as well as a student, as a son or daughter, as a friend, as a boyfriend or girlfriend. That's all that you can think about. And then I already touched a little bit on mental health, but that can be cyclic as well. You start using drugs to make yourself feel better, to fit in at school, to fit in with your peer group. And then it can cause this mental health thing, the psychosis. It can cause mental breaks. It's been known to maybe sometimes even have a link to like schizophrenia. And then you're not able to care for yourself as well, which makes you feel more depressed, which makes you seek that high again. So take care of yourself now. Find self-care methods that work for you now. Find the strength to be able to tell your peers or whoever's offering you these drugs or tobacco or alcohol, no, now, because it will save you in the long run. So I just want you to take this time to reflect on what you've learned. In your head, think about, if you have exposure to family or friends taking illicit drugs, what does that look like for you? Has that been hard for you to watch somebody that you've loved abuse drugs or alcohol or something like that? And if you've ever taken illicit drugs, do you find any truth in that? You don't have to share here. I want you to just sit back and reflect on that for a second. And then your teacher should give you a few minutes, and I want you to then talk with a neighbor about something that maybe stood out to you that you didn't know, or something that you'd like to share. If you want to, you don't have to share here necessarily. But what I do want you to share with is your favorite self-care method. What makes you feel better when you're having a crummy day? What makes you feel more relaxed? For me, an important self-care method for me is that I love to go hiking. So when I'm really starting to struggle with things and I need some time to reflect, it's time for me to get to the mountains. So, and my poor family gets dragged along with me all the time. So share your favorite self-care method. Share why that works for you. And then, maybe you'll learn something new from a neighbor or a friend there. And then this last slide is, Sam says, National Helpline. This is a free and confidential helpline that you can call if you feel like you need help with drugs or alcohol or addiction, whether it's you yourself or somebody close to you or somebody that you're worried about. They can give you resources. And we're just going to leave this up on the screen. I'll click through to my resources here in a second, but we'll leave this up on the screen. And you can either write this number down, or these type of numbers like this, they are meant to be easy to memorize. So if you don't feel comfortable writing it down, I want you to sit here and just memorize it if it's something that you feel like you need, because like I said, it's free and it's confidential, and it could be something that really helps you because it's helped a lot of people. Okay? All right, guys. That's it for today. Like I said, write this number down if you feel like you or somebody that you know could benefit from it, or if you don't feel comfortable writing it down, then it's the type of number that is purposefully designed to be easy to memorize. So that is it. Thanks for letting me present to you. I hope that you guys learned something from this, and I hope that you can take these tools and use them in the future. Thanks.